Hello, my name is Jim Seitz and I'm a 25-year mechanic from United Airlines. I've been represented by the Teamsters Union for the last 5 years, and I'd like to talk to you about that representation today. In 2008, 2 days after the Teamsters were certified at United Airlines, the mechanics in San Francisco found out that our local was to be split in two by the Teamsters. Half of the mechanics in San Francisco were to pay dues to Los Angeles and to be represented out of Los Angeles. For 40 years here in San Francisco, the mechanics have had a local that represented us on the property at United Airlines. We found out a couple days later that Seattle, Portland, and Honolulu would also be placed in Los Angeles. How does dividing up the membership provide better representation? This same pattern happened across the system at United Airlines. The mechanics in Dulles were moved to New York City. At Continental, the mechanics in Orlando, over 500 of them, are represented by the local in Miami that has over 12,000 members. How do those mechanics have a voice in their union? In 2008, the Teamsters made a lot of promises about being a democratic union. After certification, we found out that those promises were lies. In the IAM, you could elect your local president, your local officers, and your representatives on the floor. In the Teamsters, that's not the case. The Teamsters have been on the property for 5 years here at United Airlines, and I have yet to vote for a local officer. In the IAM, if you don't like your representative, you can vote them out. In the Teamsters, that's not an option. One of the first things I received from the Teamsters Union was a dues notification. Up until that time, I was paying $50 a month for dues. Today, with the Teamsters, I pay $78 a month for dues. And for what? Where does my dues money go? If you look at the LM2 from Los Angeles, that's where my dues money goes, you can see that 95% of the money spent in your local goes to local officers, appointed representatives, their salaries, medical benefits, and their pensions. You know, the Teamsters talk a lot about political clout and how they had the money to spend to push agendas that would help aircraft mechanics. Local 986 spent $6,000 in 2009 for political lobbying. It's right here in the LM2. Well, they also spent $6,000 on coffee and donuts. It kind of tells you where their priorities are. If you make a comparison between the IAM and the Teamsters, a local secretary in the IAM makes about $2,500 a year. The secretary-treasurer in the IBT makes $225,000 a year. In 2008, a lot of United mechanics turned a blind eye to the history of corruption in the Teamsters Union. They focused on organizing for power, but they forgot about the long history of corruption in the Teamsters Union. The Teamsters are the most decertified union in America today, and over 500 of their officers and representatives have been convicted and are barred from participating in the Teamsters Union. Do you want that type of representation at US Airways? I hope that you will consider these facts before you make your decision. As a Teamster member, every quarter I receive the Teamster magazine. In my hands I hold the Spring 2013 Teamster magazine. This 42-page pamphlet, almost half of it is dedicated to disclosing the corruption in the Teamsters Union. I know the Teamsters don't want to put this out, but they're required by a court order to disclose this information to their membership. And if you read it, you can see that corruption is ongoing in the Teamsters Union. That's probably why they're the most decertified union in the United States. So before you make a decision at US Airways, look at the history and look at the facts. Don't make the same mistake that the mechanics at United Airlines made. You know, the Teamsters come to your door and they make a lot of promises. In 2008, Rich Petrosky came to our door and made a lot of promises about Teamster representation. Today, 5 years later, we found out most of those promises were broken, and a lot of the things he said were lies. In 2010, Rich Petrosky was found guilty of election fraud here in San Francisco. The International Brotherhood of Teamsters election supervisor found Rich Petrosky and several other appointed reps guilty of abusing their positions and using union company time, union facilities, and union equipment to re-elect the people that appointed them. That's how it works in the Teamsters Union. The Teamsters have been at United Airlines for 5 years now. and we know what they're all about. The campaign promises that you hear today will surely be broken promises tomorrow. Don't make the same mistake we made here at United Airlines by voting in the Teamsters. We lost a 50-year IAM contract built by our mechanics at United Airlines. The Teamsters appointed negotiators threw it all away. Keep your IAM mechanics contract, keep your IAM pension, and stay involved in the union and stay with the IAM. Thanks for your time.